The sun was setting on New Seoul Space Station, casting long shadows through the massive windows of the orbital junkyard. Du-Han walked between tall piles of broken machines and old spacecraft parts. His mechanical right eye glowed softly blue as it scanned everything around him. Du-Han wasn't like other humans. Half of his body was made of machine parts, which he had built himself over the years. His mechanical arms could lift heavy things easily, and his artificial eye could see things that normal eyes couldn't. He liked being alone in the junkyard, where he could find treasures that other people missed. Today was different, though. As he walked past a mountain of old ship engines, his scanner picked up something unusual. It was a weak energy signal, barely noticeable, but it was there. Du-Han moved closer, pushing aside pieces of metal with his strong mechanical hands. "Now what do we have here?" he said to himself, brushing away layers of dust. Under all the junk, he found what looked like a hand. But it wasn't a normal hand. It was made of a strange, silvery metal he had never seen before. Du-Han worked carefully for the next hour, moving pieces of junk one by one. Soon he uncovered more parts: an arm, then a shoulder, and finally a whole body. It was a cyborg, but not like any he had seen before. The cyborg looked female, and her metal skin had strange patterns that seemed to glow faintly in the dim light. "You're not from around here, are you?" Du-Han spoke softly, even though the cyborg couldn't hear him. His scanner showed that her systems were almost completely shut down, but a tiny bit of power remained in her core. She wasn't dead, just in a very deep sleep. Looking closer, he saw battle damage all over her body. Some parts were crushed, others were torn apart, and many pieces were missing completely. But what caught his attention most was the unusual design of her systems. They weren't human-made, and they weren't like the common alien tech he usually saw. This cyborg was something special. Du-Han checked the time on his internal display. The junkyard would be closing soon, and he needed to make a decision. He could leave her here, like all the other broken machines, or he could try to save her. The rational part of his brain told him this could be dangerous. An unknown alien cyborg could be a threat, but something else, maybe the human part of him, wouldn't let him walk away. Using his enhanced strength, Du-Han carefully lifted the cyborg from her metal grave. She was heavy, but his mechanical arms could handle the weight. As he carried her toward his workshop at the edge of the junkyard, the last sunlight reflected off her damaged frame. Inside his workshop, Du-Han cleared his main work table and gently laid down his find. The room was filled with tools, spare parts, and half-finished projects. But this would now be his main focus. He connected a power analyzer to her systems, and his screens filled with data he had never seen before. "You're going to be quite the puzzle," he said, starting to make notes about what he could see. Many of her parts were unlike anything in his database. Some looked like weapons, but others had purposes he couldn't guess. Whoever she was, she had been built for something important. As night fell over the space station, Du-Han began his work. He knew this would be his biggest challenge yet, but he felt excited. Every broken machine had a story, and he wanted to know hers. In the quiet of his workshop, surrounded by his tools and spare parts, Du-Han started the long process of bringing the mysterious cyborg back to life. Little did he know that this discovery would change not only his life, but the lives of many others across the galaxy. As he worked late into the night, the cyborg's systems held secrets that would soon reshape everything he thought he knew about both humans and aliens. The next morning, Du-Han started his real work on the alien cyborg. He had spent all night studying the strange markings on her metal frame. His workshop was now filled with different tools and scanning devices, all focused on understanding his mysterious find. First, he needed to clean her systems. Years of dirt and rust had built up on her frame. Du-Han used special cleaning tools that wouldn't damage her delicate parts. As the dirt came away, he found more unusual patterns on her metal skin. They looked like writing, but in a language he had never seen before. "Let's see what's inside," Duhan said to himself as he carefully opened a panel in her chest. What he found made him step back in surprise. Her internal systems were far more advanced than he expected. There were weapons built into her arms, and her power core was military grade. This wasn't just any cyborg. She was built for battle. Duhan's mechanical heart beat faster as he realized what he might have found. 5 years ago, there had been a huge battle near Andromeda. The news had talked about a powerful alien warrior who had disappeared during the fight. Could this be her? He worked through the day, replacing damaged parts and fixing broken connections. Some parts were easy to fix, but others were so strange that he had to figure out new ways to repair them. His friend Sony, who owned a parts shop nearby, came to help. Duhan, these aren't normal components, Sony said, looking at the cyborg systems. This is high-level military technology. Where did you find her? In the junkyard, Duhan answered, focusing on a complicated circuit in the cyborg's arm. Someone tried to destroy her. Look at these blast marks. They're from close range. This wasn't battle damage. Someone wanted her to stay broken. As they worked, Duhan found a small data chip hidden deep in the cyborg's memory systems. It was damaged, but he might be able to fix it. That chip could tell him who she was and why someone had tried to destroy her. The sun set and rose again, and Duhan kept working. He only stopped when his own systems needed charging. On the third day, he finally reached her main power core. It was damaged but not destroyed. With careful work, he could bring her back online. This is going to be dangerous, He warned. We don't know why she was shut down. Maybe it's better to leave her sleeping. But Duhan couldn't stop now. He had spent too much time learning about her systems, fixing her damaged parts. He needed to know her story. Something about her called to the human part of him, the part that still believed in helping others. He connected new power cables to her core, carefully controlling the energy flow. At first, nothing happened. Then, slowly, lights began to flicker across her frame. The strange patterns in her metal skin started to glow with a soft blue light. Power levels rising, Duhan said, watching his screens. Core temperature normal. Memory systems starting to respond. His mechanical eye scanned each reading carefully, making sure nothing went wrong. Suddenly, all his screens lit up at once. The cyborg systems were awakening faster now. The patterns on her skin glowed brighter, and Duhan heard the soft hum of power flowing through her restored circuits. Then her eyes opened. They were silver, with tiny lights moving in their depths like stars. She looked straight at Duhan, and he knew his life would never be the same again. He had done more than fix a broken machine. He had awakened someone important, someone whose story was about to change everything. The cyborg's silver eyes focused on Duhan, and she spoke in a language that sounded like singing mixed with electronic tones. Duhan's translation systems tried to understand the words but couldn't. The cyborg noticed this and paused. Then her throat made a soft clicking sound as she switched to speaking basic human language. "Where am I?" she asked, her voice clear but with a slight mechanical echo. She tried to sit up, but her systems weren't fully stable yet. "Careful," Duhan said, helping her stay steady. "You're in my workshop on New Seoul Space Station. I found you in the junkyard. You were badly damaged." His mechanical eye scanned her power levels as he spoke. They were low but getting stronger. The cyborg looked at her own body, seeing the new parts Duhan had added. "You rebuilt me," she said. It wasn't a question. "Why?" Duhan thought about this. "Because you needed help," he said simply. "I'm Duhan. Can you tell me your name?" She was quiet for a moment, like she was searching through her memories. "Mayray," she finally said. "I am Mayray." But she stopped, looking confused. "Many of my memory files are damaged. I cannot access complete data about my past." Seung-hee, who had been watching from the corner, stepped forward. "Do you remember anything about the Battle of Andromeda?" Mayray's eyes flickered at these words. Her body tensed, and some of her built-in weapons started to power up automatically. Duhan quickly moved between her and Sungyi. "It's okay," he said. "You're safe here. No one will hurt you." He noticed how his own mechanical systems seemed to sync with hers, creating a calm connection between them. Her weapons powered down. "The battle," Meirei said slowly. "Yes, I was there. I was important, but something went wrong." She touched her head, where Duhan had repaired serious damage. "Someone attacked me. Not in the battle. After. They took something from my memory core." Duhan showed her the damaged data chip he had found. "Is this what they were looking for?" Meirei's eyes scanned the chip. "That contains only part of the data. There should be more. Important information about." She stopped again, frustrated. "I cannot remember what it was about, but it was the reason they tried to destroy me." As they talked, Duhan noticed something interesting. Every time Meirei moved, her systems seemed to work better with his mechanical parts than with normal technology. When he helped her stand up, their mechanical arms moved in perfect sync. Their power signatures matched in a way he had never seen before. "Your design," he said, "it's different from other cyborgs. The way you're built, it's like you were made to work with both human and alien technology. Is that part of why you were in the battle?" Meirei walked slowly around the workshop, getting used to her restored body. I think I was meant to be a bridge between humans and aliens. But something happened. Something that some people wanted to keep secret." Suddenly, all the lights in the workshop flickered. Meirei's eyes glowed brighter for a moment. "Warning," she said. "My security systems are detecting unauthorized data access attempts. Someone knows I am active again." Duhan quickly checked his workshop's security systems. "We need to move you somewhere safer," he said. "Someone out there knows you're awake, and they might not be happy about it." As if to prove his point, they heard the distant sound of heavy vehicles approaching the workshop. Meirei and Duhan looked at each other, both knowing that their problems were just beginning. Duhan led Meirei through a hidden door in his workshop just as the vehicles outside grew closer. They entered a small room filled with spare parts and old machines. This was Duhan's secret workspace, where he kept his most valuable projects. "We will be safe here for now," Duhan said, activating security shields he had built himself. Those vehicles turned away. They were only scanning the area, but they will come back. Meirei moved carefully in the small space, testing her rebuilt body. Her movements were becoming smoother as her systems adjusted to the new parts Duhan had installed. She stopped at a mirror on the wall and looked at herself. "You made improvements," she said, touching the new components that were now part of her frame. The original silver of her alien metal now mixed with the darker steel of human technology. "These parts are stronger than my original ones." Duhan nodded. "I used the best materials I could find. Some of them are experimental designs I created myself. Your systems accepted them better than I expected. It's like you were made to adapt to different technologies." As they talked, Meirei's memory systems continued to repair themselves. Sometimes she would stop mid-sentence as new memories surfaced. "I remember more about the battle now," she said. "I was not just a soldier. I was a commander. I led forces of both humans and aliens." "That explains the advanced technology in your design," Duhan said. He connected a diagnostic cable to her arm, checking her power levels. "Your core systems can work with many different types of technology. That's rare. Most cyborgs can only use parts from their own kind." Meirei's eyes flickered as another memory returned. "There was corruption," she said. "High-ranking officers from both sides were working together, but not for peace. They were selling military secrets. I discovered their plan, but before I could report it." She touched the place where Duhan had found the worst damage. "They tried to destroy you," Duhan finished. "Then they hid you in the junkyard, hoping no one would ever find you or fix you." "But you did find me," Meirei said. She looked at Duhan with her silver eyes. And you are different too. Not fully human, not fully machine. Like me. Duhan smiled. Maybe that's why your systems work so well with mine. We're both caught between two worlds. Their conversation was interrupted by an alert from Duhan's security system. Someone was accessing old military records about the Battle of Andromeda. They were looking for information about Mirai. Your enemies know you are active again, Duhan said, showing her the alert. But they don't know where you are yet. We have some time to prepare. Mirai stood straighter, and Duhan saw a glimpse of the commander she used to be. I need to recover the rest of my memories, she said. The evidence of their crimes is still in my data core, but it's encrypted. I can't access it yet. Then we'll work on that first, Duhan said. He started connecting more diagnostic tools to her systems, but we'll have to be careful. Every time we activate more of your memory systems, it creates energy signals that they might detect. As they worked, Mirai and Duhan discovered their unique connection made the recovery process easier. His cybernetic parts could interface with her systems in ways that normal technology couldn't. Together, they began the dangerous task of unlocking her memories while staying hidden from those who wanted to keep their secrets buried forever. On the lower levels of New Seoul Space Station, Commander Jaho stood at a large window, watching Duhan's workshop through enhanced optical sensors. His cybernetic implants were military-grade, but older than Duhan's modern modifications. A group of armed security officers waited behind him, their weapons ready. The energy readings are clear, Jaho said to his team. Someone has reactivated the alien cyborg unit from the Andromeda incident. After all these years of keeping that situation quiet, we cannot allow this complication. Inside Duhan's hidden workspace, Mirai suddenly became alert. Her combat systems, dormant since her reactivation, began to power up. We have enemies approaching, she said to Duhan. Military-grade cybernetic signatures. They are trying to be subtle, but I can detect their presence. Duhan checked his security feeds. They're blocking normal scanners, but they don't know about my special modifications. He showed Mirai a display of heat signatures moving through the station's lower levels. They're surrounding the whole area. These aren't ordinary soldiers. Mirai's eyes flickered as her tactical systems analyzed the situation. The one leading them, his cybernetic signature is familiar. He was there, at Andromeda. He was one of the officers who... She paused as her memory systems struggled with encrypted data. Who tried to silence me? Commander Jaho, Duhan said, recognizing the leader's signal pattern. He retired from active service 5 years ago, right after the Andromeda incident. Now he runs private security operations for some very powerful people. Mirai moved to a wall of screens showing different views of the area around the workshop. He is not here for security, she said. He is here to finish what he started, to destroy the evidence I carry within my systems. Duhan watched as more armed figures took positions around his workshop. They're being careful. They don't want anyone to notice what they're doing. He turned to Mirai. How much of your combat programming is back online? Enough, Mirai replied. Her arm transformed smoothly into a defensive shield. Your repairs improved my original specifications, but we are outnumbered, and my memory core is still vulnerable. Direct confrontation would be unwise. Duhan smiled and pressed his hand against a hidden panel in the wall. A section of the floor slid open, revealing a maintenance tunnel. Then it's a good thing I always prepare escape routes. I've learned that valuable things often attract unwanted attention. Just then, Commander Jaho's voice came through the workshop's communication system. Attention workshop occupants. This is a standard security inspection. Please prepare for entry and compliance assessment. Mirai and Duhan looked at each other. They both knew this was no standard inspection. Through their linked systems, they could feel the tension building. The hunters had found them, but they weren't ready to be caught. Not before they uncovered the full truth about what happened at Andromeda. We need to move quickly, Du-Han said, gathering essential tools and data storage devices. The maintenance tunnels connect to the station's outer ring. I have a small ship docked there. We can use it to reach a safe location where we can finish recovering your memories. As they prepared to leave, Mireille placed her hand on Du-Han's mechanical arm. Their systems synchronized automatically, sharing power and data. You have already risked much to help me, she said. You can still walk away from this. Du-Han shook his head. I chose to rebuild you. That makes me part of this story now. We'll find the truth together. Du-Han and Mireille moved quickly through the maintenance tunnel. The metal walls were narrow, and pipes carrying the station's vital systems ran alongside them. Their mechanical parts helped them navigate in the dim emergency lighting. We are being followed, Mireille said, her sensors detecting movement in nearby tunnels. They anticipated this escape route. Du-Han accessed the station's maintenance systems through his cybernetic interface. I can seal some of the connecting tunnels, he said. It will slow them down. As they reached a junction point, Mireille suddenly stopped. Her eyes glowed brighter, and her systems hummed with increased activity. The movement, she said. The vibrations in these tunnels. They match the frequency of. Her voice trailed off as more encrypted memories began to unlock. What is it? Du-Han asked, watching her carefully. The secret shipments, Mireille said. During the Andromeda campaign, I discovered unusual cargo moving through maintenance systems like these. They were using hidden routes to transport restricted military technology, both human and alien weapons, being sold to anyone who would pay. Du-Han connected a data cable between them, helping to stabilize Mireille's memory systems as they processed the recovered information. That's why they tried to destroy you, he said. You found proof of their weapons trafficking. Mireille nodded. Commander Jaiho was part of it. He and others from both military forces were working together. They made billions selling advanced weapons technology to private armies and criminal organizations. Through their connected systems, Du-Han could see fragments of Mireille's memories. He saw her discovering encrypted transmission logs, following suspicious cargo shipments, and finally confronting the corrupt officers. Then came the memory of her ambush, when they attacked her and tried to erase all evidence of their crimes. The data chip you found in my systems, Mireille said. It contains transaction records, meeting logs, and delivery schedules. But it's only part of the evidence. The rest is still locked in my damaged memory core. Suddenly, they heard the sound of cutting tools against metal. Commander Jaiho's forces were breaking through the sealed tunnels. The evidence in your memories, Du-Han said quickly. Can you access it now? Mireille's systems worked faster, processing the encrypted data. Yes, she said. Being in these tunnels, seeing the same patterns they used. It's helping my systems recover the locked files. But I need more time to decrypt everything. Du-Han checked his tactical display. My ship is 2 junctions ahead. If we can reach it, I have equipment there that can help speed up your memory recovery. The sounds of pursuit grew closer. Mireille's combat systems came fully online, ready to defend them if needed. They will not risk letting me leave the station, she said. Not now that I remember their crimes. Then we'll have to be faster than them, Du-Han said. He interfaced with more station systems, creating distractions in other tunnels. Ready? Mireille nodded. Together, they moved forward, their mechanical systems working in perfect sync. The truth about the Andromeda incident was finally coming to light, but they still had to survive long enough to reveal it to others. Du-Han and Mireille reached the final tunnel junction before the docking area. They could see Du-Han's small ship through the reinforced windows. But between them and freedom stood Commander Jaiho and his security team, their weapons ready. Your enhancements are impressive, Du-Han, Commander Jaiho said, his cybernetic eye glowing red in the dim light. But did you ever wonder why you found such advanced parts in a common junkyard? Those were left there deliberately, hoping someone like you would find them. Du-Han's mechanical heart beat faster as he understood. You were watching me. All those special parts I found. You wanted me to become good enough to fix her. Jaiho smiled coldly. We needed someone with both human insight and mechanical skill, someone who could repair her systems without fully understanding what she was. You did exactly what we expected. Mayray stepped forward, her combat systems fully activated. You used him to repair me so you could find the evidence I had hidden away. You knew it was still inside my systems. Correct, Jaiho said. And now that your memory core is repaired and the data is decrypted, we can finally erase it completely. He raised his hand, and his security team aimed their weapons. But Duhan and Mayray were ready. Their synchronized systems moved faster than Jaiho expected. Mayray's arm transformed into a shield, protecting them both as Duhan accessed the station's emergency systems through his cybernetic interface. The tunnel lights went dark. Emergency sirens began to sound throughout the station. In the confusion, Mayray and Duhan moved with perfect coordination. Their mechanical parts worked together as if they were one unit, each covering the other's movements. The evidence is already transmitted, Duhan said as they fought. I've been sending it to secure locations since Mayray first started remembering. You can't erase it anymore. Jaiho's face showed real fear for the first time. Kill them both, he ordered his team. But in the dark tunnel, his soldiers couldn't match the synchronized movements of Duhan and Mayray. Mayray's combat programming worked smoothly with Duhan's enhanced systems. She disabled the security team's weapons while he sealed tunnel sections, separating the soldiers from each other. Together, they moved through the chaos like dancers performing a carefully planned routine. Finally, only Jaiho remained. He activated his own combat systems, military hardware that had been top secret during the Andromeda campaign. I won't let you ruin everything we built, he said, advancing toward them. It was already ruined, Mayray replied. You corrupted both human and alien forces. You betrayed everyone's trust for money. The fight was intense but brief. Jaiho's old military systems couldn't match Mayray's restored and enhanced capabilities, especially with Duhan supporting her. Together, they disabled his weapons and pinned him against the tunnel wall. Station security forces, responding to Duhan's transmitted evidence, arrived to arrest Jaiho and his team. As they were led away, Mayray turned to Duhan. You risked everything to help me, she said, even when you learned they had manipulated you into finding me. Duhan smiled, his mechanical eye glowing softly blue. They thought they were using me to get to you, but in the end, we used their plan against them. Sometimes the best way to fix something broken isn't just replacing parts, it's making something completely new and better. Through their linked systems, they both knew this was just the beginning. There were more corrupt officials to expose, on both human and alien sides. But now they would face those challenges together, their unique combination of abilities making them stronger than either could be alone.